Hey, it's Drybear. Welcome back to another starter guide for World of Warcraft Dragonflight. Today we're going to be covering the warrior class. We'll go through all three of the specializations, give you leveling builds for the new talent trees so you can jump right into the game. You can take the import strings in the description, put them right into your talent tree in-game, and you have the build ready to go. If you're still wondering what to play, I have two videos out. One that's a meta-analysis of what classes gained and lost and which ones gained the most going into the expansion, link down below. And I do have a video going over how to choose your main based on what your preferences are in the description as well. And of course, if you have any questions or comments for me, I'm live every day on twitch.tv/Drybear. Come by and say hi. As with the other guides, we'll start out with a class overview on the class, on how it functions and what to look for, what to look out for. Warrior's super fun. It's one of the original classes in the game, and it's a blast to play. I just redid all of my key bindings. I reorganized all of them for Dragonflight. So I'm not going to know where all the buttons are, but we're going to go through the talent trees. If you didn't know, in Dragonflight, you have two talent trees. The left talent tree is the talent tree for your class. This is a base generalist talent tree that all of the specializations will have access to. And then the right talent tree is your spec talent tree. This is specific to the spec you have selected, and only that spec can access it. So we'll start by going over the general talent tree because it'll affect all three specs. And then we'll start going through each of the talent trees with links that you can copy in as well. Warrior is a plate-wearing class with one tank spec and two melee specs. Fury is a little bit faster and can play with either one-handed weapons or two-handed weapons, the old Titan's grip. And then Arms is a little bit slower, though granted in Dragonflight, Arms is actually faster than it was before and has a little more abilities, which I think is an improvement, which is really cool. And then Protection is your sword and board. That's the tank. Right now, Protection Warriors are absolutely bonkers. They're probably the best tank in the game. Who knows what's going to happen if we get tuning or when we get tuning, but just be aware that if you're playing tank, you might be playing the best tank available. Warriors are generally slow on their own, and most of their mobility comes from their ability. So usually you will be chasing after mobs. Though unlike Death Knight, you do actually have a good amount of mobility burst. You have Charge, which has two stacks of it, kind of the signature ability for Warrior. You will have Heroic Leap, and you'll have ways to kind of jump in, jump out, do all that, which does give you some good distance. It's not going to make you feel like you're like a demon hunter, but you have those burst windows where you can get some serious distance on your target to keep up with them. And the biggest utility that Warrior has is Rallying Cry. This is not to be underestimated. It has a 3-minute cooldown, but increases the max HP of everyone in the party, which is effective defense. It allows you to eat through, especially in raids and Mythic Plus, eat through some pretty major mechanics by using your Rallying Cries intelligently. So a very, very strong ability. Other than that, they don't have a crazy amount of utility, as I mentioned in my overall class picking guide. But that is kind of like their big one. When it comes to leveling for all three specs, we're going to pick up a few talents here in the general tree that are super useful for leveling. War Machine, super useful. You generate more rage. More rage means you get more abilities in all three specs. Super nice. And you can get movement speed after killing an enemy, which gets you to the next enemy faster. Fast footwork is nice. You get a nice base movement speed increase. As we just talked about, Heroic Leap is also a great ability. It is on a 30-second cooldown, allows you to jump. You can actually use it to avoid fall damage as well, which is super cool. Further modified by Bounding Stride, which lowers the cooldown to 30 seconds by 15 seconds. And it gives you some movement speed after using Heroic Leap. And then you can use Double Time, which increases the number of charges by 1 and lowers its cooldown. So you get these 2 charges, you get the Heroic Leap, which gives you movement speed. You have the extra movement speed after killing. You also do have Victory Rush built in, which is an ability that allows you to deal damage for free with no cost every time you get a kill. Super nice. It's a good way to keep yourself healthy and topped up as well. So overall, very effective leveler. Of the three specs that level, I would say Arms is probably the fastest. Fury takes a little bit of more gear to really get the value out of it. Doesn't mean it's bad to level Fury. Fury is just fine. There's some good AoEs in this tree that we'll talk about, but in general, Arms is probably the fastest. Protection, honestly, in its state right now, would be just fine. I think, unlike most classes, any one of these specs would be fine for leveling. I think Arms is probably technically the fastest, but if you wanted to level as Fury or level as Protection, you'd be good to go, and we'll get you some starter builds you can use to level up any one of them. Now, you will have a set amount of talent points from level 60, but every time you level up, it'll alternate giving you points for each of the trees. So as you push towards 70, you will get some points to push down into those trees. For the general side, you want to pick up Thunderous Roar. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown. It gives you rage, and it's a nice, good AoE. And then you'll want to get Avatar, super useful. Uproar, basically this bottom left corner is great for leveling. Thunderous Words, and then of these two, I would pick up Berserker's Torment. This means that when you Recklessness, you get Avatar reduced effectiveness, and when you Avatar, you get Recklessness at reduced effectiveness, which is nice. It means that those cooldowns kind of coincide, super cool, and you get a little bit of extra AoE from Thunderous as well. If you wanted to, it's probably most effective for Fury though. If you're running the Fury build, you can go to Spirit Bastion. It's the Kyrian ability from Shadowlands. It does nice AoE, and you can modify it even further to increase critical strike damage, which is nice. And then you can run Odin's Fury from Fury, and also run Titan's Torment, which coincides Avatar and Odin's Fury together, which means that you get some nice buffs. It'll help Fury. For arms and protection, you probably don't need that. You can just get this bottom left corner, but it is an option available if that's something you wanted to go for. Now let's move on to the class specs. This will be for arms, Fury, and protection. Arms uses just one two-handed weapon, and it's like I said, it's a little bit faster than it was in Shadowlands. You do have things like Blade Storm, which is super nice, and then you can get Blade Master's Torment, which does the same thing that Odin's Fury does for Fury. Just makes the Avatar, triggers Blade Storm, yada yada. Super cool. And one of the things you can do with arms, which is nice for leveling, you can pick up Rend, which is a bleed dot on the target, and then scooch over to this side of the tree, pick up Blood and Thunder. Thunderclap costs more rage and deals more damage, which isn't really super huge. But if you have Rend, Thunderclap affects 5 nearby targets with Rend. So with this on arms, you can pick this up, and then you can Thunderclap onto a bunch of targets for AoE. Gives you a nice little bit to actually, build up some extra dot damage, extra bonus. I don't think you need Spear of Bastion, the Kyrian ability. I think this is just fine, but it is nice to pick up Blood and Thunder just for leveling. And again, as you level, you'll get more points to spend. I would move towards Thunderous Roar over here, and then pick up Blade Storm down here as well, and then move over to like Merciless Bone Grinder can be super useful. But in general, you want to be just burning cooldowns. Make sure you are using Die by the Sword if you get in trouble. Use your Avatar on cooldown. Keep the burst there. The one thing they'll note for all warrior specs in general is that you don't want to be spending, since this consumes all of your rage, you get a little bit back if they die, or if they don't die. But in general, you don't want to be spending a whole bunch of rage just going from target to target. You will have Victory Rush. You'll still get War Machine, which gets you moving from target to target. But just keep that in mind. Spend Colossus Smash on cooldown. If you have Thunderous, use it on cooldown. Just burn, 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 especially for arms that can just run in and start cleaving and AoEing everything. And anytime there's more than one target, make sure you're keeping up Sweeping Strikes. It's a 30-second cooldown. You can also run Storm of Swords to get a nice value out of Whirlwind, especially for arms. And then you Blade Storm. And keep in mind that when you're in this build, when you Thunderclap, you'll get a whole bunch of Rends on all of the targets there. So you can pop this, get the Rends out, throw out the Blade Storm, tons of AoEs, make sure you're getting the Sweeping Strikes. And that's basically it. If you need to, use all your abilities, use Mortal Strike, use Overpower, and then use Slam as a filler if you have nothing else that you can click on, especially if you're running a cooldown on Whirlwind. And that's it. Just use everything, use all your buffs, and then burn. Arms is very straightforward. For leveling, it's super casual. You're just gonna get as much as you can, pop your cooldowns, and then burn it down. So that's it. If you're looking for this build, it'll be down in the description. You just gotta copy it and then hit import and type the string that's in there and give it a name, and boom, you got your talent build. This is for leveling right into your client. On to leveling with Fury. Like I said, it's gonna start a little bit slower in the beginning. It'll probably get better closer to 70, but it's still very, very viable. I would recommend maybe getting Spear of Bastion to help with damage. Run Odin's Fury with Berserker's Torment over here, or just go Titan's Torment to just go Odin's Fury into Avatar and vice versa. And then you can run some really cool Whirlwind upgrades here, which gives you some nice AoE. Now, there is a new Annihilator auto attack build for Fury, but you're not going to have the gear that you need to make this build work until level 70. So you really only have one major choice to make here. I mean, you can play around with the talents, but you're going to want to go down the Recklessness part of the tree, down to Odin's Fury, and combine it over. And then some things that are really nice for AoE, you have improved enrage, which gives you the haste and movement speed. Fresh meat's going to help you a bunch and make sure that you always enrage. And then improved whirlwind is the big thing for Fury. When you pop whirlwind, so when you deal whirlwind damage, it'll give you a buff that makes your next single target strikes, 4 of them, strike additional targets, which is nice. And then you can increase the damage of that with Meat Cleaver. So work your way down this tree to Odin's Fury. That's your nice AoE. Keep your cooldown spending, and then you're just using improved whirlwind. Spend your single target like Rampage, and then use your whirlwind when you need stacks again, and back and forth. Pop Recklessness, pop your racials. And keep in mind that you do have fresh meat here. So what you want to do is every time you hit a new target, you want to use Bloodthirst to make sure that you proc Enrage and you have Enrage up. You're going to be spending Rampage to turn your Rage into damage. Spend that Rage at 80 Rage to get a nice burst of damage. Big AoE coming out from Odin's Fury. And again, if you're running Titan's Torment, you'll get a free avatar out of it, a reduced effectiveness avatar. Keep your stacks up of improved Whirlwind and then spend it with Rampage or spend it with Raging Blow. If you really have to, you can hit Slam. I don't know if you'll have enough gear to get to needing Slam. Raging Blow comes back pretty quick. And you'll be able to use it pretty easily. You may want to pick up Titanic Rage to get you extra enrage, and you get bonus damage, and you get 4 stacks of Whirlwind. So basically you can replace Odin's Fury as 1 rotation of Whirlwind to get those extra stacks, which is nice. You can put that there together. And as you get points, you can pick up Reckless Abandon down into Unbridled Ferocity. This will make your Rampage a little more effective. You get free Recklessness procs. And then when you pick up Reckless Abandon, you can make your next 2 Bloodthirst or Raging Blows stronger, which you're always going to be using and spending as much as you can. As with all builds, just be careful about using Execute and dumping all your Rage when you definitely need it for other things. But if you get a free Execute out of that, feel free to go for it. And then, yeah, combine all that together and you're ready to go with your Fury build. Again, if you want this build, you can copy it from the description down below. Hit import, type it in, boom, there's your build. You've got it in game. And lastly, let's go over a leveling build for protection. The cool thing about leveling as a tank, it will be a little bit slower than your damage DPS builds, especially in single target, but you'll be able to pull more. Generally, if you're leveling as a tank, you can just go grab a whole area's worth of mobs, bring them together, AoE them down. Prot warrior damage is decent right now. It's quite good. So you'll be able to burn through all of that. And really, AoE is where you excel. It's not going to be as high as individual single target. You can still run Rend with Blood and Thunder, which gives you AoE bleeds. You can run Shield Charge and Ravager just to give yourself a little bit more AoE, some cooldown options. Your main cooldown is still going to be Avatar, so pop that on cooldown, get those big pulls and burn them down as quickly as you can. Another cool thing that you can add on top of these movement abilities is the Impending Victory. This replaces Victory Rush, so when you kill a target, you get Impending Victory, which gives you 30% of your maximum HP every time you kill and then target a new one, hit it. Make sure you're hitting it after every minion kill, and this will give you a bunch of HP. And then the core rotation for Prot Warrior is quite simple. You're just running your Shield Slam and Thunderclap to build Rage. So you want to grab Shield Slam. All my keybinds are effed right now, but right. So hit Shield Slam to build up Rage, spend it on Revenge, and then maintain Shield Block. That's basically the whole process. You're just keeping that up, making sure that all of it's set to go. And then you, if you need to, you spend Impending Victory, pop your cooldowns. If you need to, you can pop Shield Wall. Again, Shield Charge and Ravager are options for you if you want to use that. You can run Spear of Bastion. Again, I don't know if it's all that necessary, but you can pick it up. I think Thunderous Roar is probably going to serve you better. But it is there if you want to use it. So just spam your Thunderclap and your Shield Slam to build Rage. If you're not in trouble, you can spend it on Revenge. And then if you are in trouble, you can use it to build up more shield block, more defense, pop your cooldowns, and you'll be good to go. Just maintain shield block. At least 1 stack is useful. It keeps you pretty well alive. And then there's some options in here that will actually increase duration and some more modifiers. The big thing for Prot, your single target is going to be kind of poop, but your AoE is going to be great. Your sustain is going to be great. And the cool part is you'll have really fast queues. So you can be doing dungeons regularly, popping those queues while you're doing the questing. Super cool. If you want this build for Prot, all you have to do is copy the string in the description. Hit copy there, hit import, pipe it in, give it a name, boom, you're good to go. That's it for the Warrior Starter Guide. Good luck in your leveling process. I hope that you were able to get into the servers and things aren't crashed and exploding and on fire. If you have any questions or comments for me, drop by my live stream. If you'd like to see other guides from me, put those down below. And that'll be it. I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. You can support me and my work on Patreon and view Patreon exclusive content. Link in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.